we can get right into it. So you don't have any updates, Phyllis?
Nope. I just need to get my butt in gear and work on the website because I have a couple of things to load up, and I need another session or two with Michael J. It's one thing if you work on it regularly, you learn a lot more than just hitting it once in a while. I need to get it back into the more regular routine with him. And you guys did a really nice job changing the banner over. And we got the questions updated, and we're looking good.
Did you see anything else on there that needs to be done?
No, because Michael took care of that one where you click on the I for information about the group. And he changed it from THI to New Earth, California. So that was pretty much all it needed to be done that I could see.
Okay, good. Is everyone else happy with the new name, new banner?
Looks good.
New changes?
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah. Looks good.
Oh, great. That was easy. Okay, like I said, Miriam's not going to make it. And I just have a couple things that maybe everyone can help us with as far as the, we all decided to, as far as a business manager, we're going to use QuickBooks, and which will be attached to a PayPal. So if necessary, we can receive funding. And also, if we choose to put a donation tab up on the website, that goes directly to PayPal, if anyone's interested. So the situation I discussed with Miriam, it's all ready to go. We just had a couple things, and I wanted to make sure everybody was all right with it. She got back to me and said that both the QuickBooks and the PayPal, to set them up, are going to need a physical address and a phone number. So I explained to Miriam that I don't use phones, haven't for a long time. So I don't have a phone number, but I do have an address. I don't use it, but I have a address, and it's a kind of a large mailbox attached to where I live presently. So I don't use it, so I could use it for the business if everyone's all right with that.
I have a phone number that I don't use. It's a landline too.
Okay, that might be a good idea, because the only other thing Miriam was suggesting is that we buy one of those prepaid phones, and use that. It's not like anybody's ever going to call us or anybody's ever going to send us anything. So,
we can do that. That's easy. We
just have to jump through those two minor hoops, and everything else will be ready to roll. If everybody's okay with that. Okay, Kimberly. So I'll mention that to Miriam, and then she can you can get a hold of her, or she'll get a hold of you. And she said she could have that set up by tomorrow.
Perfect.
We'll be ready to roll on that.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm curious to see how many people come on tonight. Anyway, the next thing is, and I guess we got our answer. We all discussed continuing and focusing on distribution centers, and also getting back up and started with our project plans and group plans, individual plans. And so going forward, we can break the call up into two segments. One, first hour for distribution, or second hour for distribution, and the other hour for project plans. What's everybody's opinion on continuing focusing with the distribution centers based on all that we've been hearing?
I think we should still focus on it. I don't know that it should be our main focus. I think that we need to devote time to all kinds of topics so that we just stay really well-rounded and really well-informed, right? Because I think most of us have researched this a lot, enough to the point where we know that if we got called on, we could do it. We would be able to do it. We wouldn't drop the ball with something like this. So, but we definitely, to keep it that well-oiled machine, we do need to focus on it a bit, right? I mean, but I really want to get on our projects again. I love doing that.
Agreed. And if anybody saw Demi put a good size piece of information that should be put into the files, I think, for distribution centers in Los Angeles. Did a lot of work.
Oh.
Is that in Facebook and MeWe, or just in Facebook right now?
I'll have to try to transfer it over to MeWe. It's just in Facebook.
It's great.
There's always a problem with the documents going back and forth. I posted one today from MeWe to Facebook from Willow. She put up a new flyer that she's going to be, oh, by the way, Willow is going back out on the road for a while. She didn't say exactly how long, but she put up a new flyer that she's going to be handing out, and she'll try to get to the calls as much as she can. So anyone else have a opinion on the focus of the distribution centers and the project plans? Anybody have a comment?
Any thoughts about me? Well, let's see. We've got Pamela. Go ahead, Pamela.
I agree with what Kimberly said. We should keep it on the back burner and keep it organized so that if we do need to do it, that we're ready to go, a well-greased plan. And it will be a lot of work should it come into play that we need to do, but I think we should focus on our New Earth project also right now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Pamela. Okay, I agree. And again, myself, Miriam, Tina, and I think we have 2 more people in San Diego, but I haven't been in touch with them yet. We're going to try to meet sometime during the week and set up just a call for San Diego, just 1 hour during the day, probably around noon, to just discuss the distribution center in San Diego situation. So, and then we can meet. I agree with Kimberly and Pamela. We should probably put more of a focus on our projects. Go ahead.
Is there any way we could get Demi to talk about what she did, though? Because it was really amazing. And that was a lot of work.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's so many people where she's at. It's going to be a totally different situation for you guys down there. We're in Northern California. It's very rural. It'd be like me and Estella and Kenny getting together. I have a place here. If trucks are coming through, they could stop here easily. And then we have a food bank that would be ready to go here for me. My distribution's easy. It's nothing like Demi's. So if we need to focus as a group with Demi as well, because it's going to take a lot more for you guys there. It's not going to be as simple as passing some food out to a really small community. So, and I saw what Demi did. That was an amazing amount of work. So Demi, could you tell us a little bit about what you did?
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely. Are you hearing? Oh, good. Hi. I can't tell. This system is kind of up and down. It's kind of whatever. Well, okay, the overweight view is LA County's got 10 million people. It's basically densely populated, meaning there aren't large open areas. And so obviously that's not something we can hope to have any kind of successful distribution if we create a center ourselves, or even create a dozen of them. We'd have to have a massive amount of infrastructure and everything else. So it was by listening to one of the calls a couple of days before when we just got going with, I don't know who was in that, but Jimmy hosted this. And I realized that maybe the best thing to do is to take existing centers and use them. And that was the idea. And so then I got going and Angela got going, and we had a meeting and with our people in LA County here. And so I started doing research and discovered that it kind of boils down to a couple of big places, one in south of LA and downtown LA, and one down in Long Beach. And so I called downtown LA and just learned a few things about them. They do, these two form two of the combined, the largest distribution of food to pantries in the country. So that was good news. And then from there, I learned that, talking with the people in the one south of LA, which was the largest, that they are full. They are at capacity. So I've let this thing go, and then I had this interruption for a couple of weeks. Anyway, so basically, at what point, the question is, there are many questions. First of all, when we're talking about food coming in, let's say 5% of the population of LA is lacking food over which otherwise they would be lacking. So 5% more. Okay, so that's 500,000 people. Okay, so what we would have to learn, and I asked Jim about this, but he didn't know at that time, and I don't know if anybody knows. And that is that, okay, what quantities are coming in? How is it being sent in? Is it being sent in big trucks full of tomatoes, 1 million tomatoes, or is it being sent in boxes? Or all of this is important. The packaging, the amount coming in. All of that has to matter because we're talking very, very large amounts of food. Now, the way things are going, I think that 5% of the population of LA, because this is all planned, the intent of this is the exact what we're seeing and far worse. So we may have to look at 10%. We may have to look at more. Should we get past 5%, in my view, at this point, then we will have a different animal completely, because then the food banks may not be able to, that is the distribution centers, may not be able to handle this. We may also get other types of interference, but let's say interference. And so these are kinds of things we have to project in advance. Now, what I had planned to do, and I am beginning to do, is I don't know how, but I need to do more organization of what information I have here. What is a food bank and what is a pantry? Because these two are combined in terms of people's speech. And, and contact these other food banks, the two major ones again, and see how that's going. But quite frankly, I get a little angry at times. Well, I'm a little angry at what's happening now, but it doesn't do any good because we know what the purpose of all this is and that sort of thing. So my fear is that we are looking at some kind of a major economic realignment. Is that the word I want to use? Maybe a economic realignment. It's not too scary. But basically, things could kind of go to hell in a hurry. That's sort of my fear. And So all these things I kind of have to plan out, to think about, and that's what I'm focusing. But right now I'm looking at 5%, and maybe more than that. That I think that we could handle it, and that we would just use the existing infrastructure of food banks, delivery, and that sort of thing. That's I'll wrap it up like that.
Can you clarify what is the situation? Maybe, to give us an idea of what you're experiencing there or what you see?
What I see isn't anything really out of the ordinary. What I see is everybody has their mask on. I don't see panic. I don't see any additional homelessness. I don't see anything odd, but I would say the stores seem to be, the food stores, grocery stores seem to be stocked. There are a few empty shelves here and there with certain items, but that's about it.
Okay, Vicki has her hand up.
Vicki.
Vicki, you're on mute.
Well, yeah, she is. Vicki, you're still on mute, hon.
So what Demi was saying about the it could go to hell in a handbasket, meaning like the 10% opposed to 5. She that would include, like, if I would have a truck to come down there. You're talking big cities and very, very big traffic to try to get a truck in there to come back over to where we live for the offshoots of LA. So I see that too as, like, I'm angry about a few things. Well, I don't want to go into it either because it doesn't do us any good. But yeah, we got to move forward. But yeah, that I see that can be a problem too. If we wait too soon, wait too long, but we don't know when this would happen as far as the delivery of food if it's needed. And the other thing, I'm just losing it. I'm seeing a lot of aggression where I live. There's some really mean, and people are like so scared that they're just like, they're attacking other people as far as what side are you on? You're not wearing your mask, and on it goes. It's kind of like I stay away anymore. I mean, I've been out to 2 restaurants where I can sit down and eat. I'm shocked. It's so cool. But at the same time, if you don't follow their little rules, then they could, like, being less and less homeless people in our county. That's not a good sign where I live, because we have a ton, and now all of a sudden there's not that many. And you hear things through the grapevine. I don't want to think about that. I really don't. And as far as the Tommy's extra show last night, horrendous. Kind of knew that was happening, but now, coming from the source's mouth, it's totally sucking, and it puts a damper on things. So it's really hard to elevate your consciousness and go, through that to expand when you're in this density and you're seeing things like this. It's really hard. So I think we all should, on all calls, should have like a boosting or just a silence together for a minute before we ever start, just to project love on each other or whatever, because it's like, I'm really feeling it over here. We're just, it's very emotional right now. That's all.
I get what you're saying there very much, Vicki. Oh yeah, it gets intense. Thank you. Sean, your hand's up.
Hey guys, just wanted to say hi. I don't know if you guys saw before, but I do like animations and stuff, and I figured I'd show you guys something I'm working on just to cheer everybody up, because it's been a bit dour. But I mean, it's nothing crazy. But here's I guess I can't share my screen. I could probably I could show it on my iPad. Go ahead. This was designed by Angela, the design of the People's Club logo. I based it off of this. I don't know if you guys can see. But yeah, I based off of that, and that's her design. That's Angela's design. So, and I just did this little animation for you guys. So that's it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Really nice.
I love it.
Thank you, Sean. That's nice.
I love it.
That's cool.
Could,
Figured
could,
I'd do something
could
for you guys.
could you add, that like the heads that looks like fruits, of a tree?
Yeah, I could do
So,
some more
Could
to it.
could you and then add like little colors, like all like scattered like rainbows, all different, and create like a little nice and colorful, because diversity, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm open to more. Like this is just a rough thing. Like I did it like in an hour. Just like super quick. But so if you guys have any input, I'll post it on the Facebook so you guys can see it and have any more thoughts adding to it, because it's really rough. I want to add more to it, so just figured I'd share that.
Looks great. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Estella, you have your hand up.
Well, I listened to Thomas, and I am aligned with the importance of how to maintain your vibration, or your good state of being. I think this is one of the most important things, especially for the group, so we can unify and the intentions. And I had a very nice conversation with Kimberly. We talked like for 4 hours, I think. It was a long one. And Kimberly, you can go ahead and talk, but we discussed exactly, it would be beautiful if we can have time to that kind of everybody bring their point of view, so we can build our principles, the way how we get connected, bring in the respect and the love of effective communication. I mean, it's like the ethos of the group, they would have building some basis. So eventually this new earth is based on very highly principles that we carry within, but we share in the way we participate, as a group. And there are not rules. There are like principles that help you to stay in harmony and balance and peace within yourself, and also be able to work with the group and create. And that's the main goal. So like a safe space that nourish you and empower you. And I think we have such a nice group that if we bring it to the next level, could be part of one of our projects to, build our, I don't know how to say the right word, I call it ethos. It's like, but it's like the principles of how we create this new earth, So it's just, Kimberly, if you wanna add, you're much more expressive and
I'm talkative. We had a lovely conversation. We talked about how we're getting new members, and as we get new members, it's almost like a mission statement for our website, right? We kind of all flow and ebb together. And I did listen to Thomas last night, and he had, and I don't know how many people are on the Facebook, but he had a post where you could go and vent. about how you felt about that. And I vented hard. Well, my husband was actually in an accident this morning. So I'm not having a super fantastic day today. He's okay, but he totaled his truck. He was on his way to work and he was working too many shifts, overtime too much. And he has to drive an hour and a half each way. And he stayed way too late. And when he got up in the morning, he just crashed into one of those sequoia trees. So they don't know why he survived. They don't, but he did. He did. He didn't even deploy a bag, which is weird. It was like, so he's fine. He's just really shooken up and stuff. But it's a trial. And then on top of that, from listening to the show, I was processing because I'm really empathic. And Thomas was very distressed in the show, very distressed. And so I was picking up on that. And though I went on the page and I vented, and at the end of it, I felt great. I was like, it felt good because we're like a family. So when I went to the page and I could see the names of the people I knew, and I knew I was coming here tonight, it was like I just knew that I would have that support. And people who actually know what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking and what I'm talking about when I say it, you just know, because we're all on the same page. We're processing things differently, but we're processing the same emotions. And we are upset and we're frustrated and we're angry. And why? And I just remember, I was just yelling today, why can't this stop? Why is my free will not as important as the New World Order free will? Because sometimes it seems like that. We stand here and we intend, and it doesn't seem to work. But then I know that it is. I know that it is. On my energetic being and my spiritual being knows it is. It's that doubt, right? That little niggling doubt, that little fear, and you've got to squash it, and then you have to release it. And I did do that today. And it was an amazing feeling. And then I was just very excited to see everyone tonight. I was like, they're going to be there. My friends, my family are going to be there, and I'm going to have that support. And we're going to give it to each other. And so basically that's what's going to get us through the rest of this, because this is the end game. This is the end game. What they propose, we can stop. But we have to figure out, what do we do? What does this take? What does it really take to get this to stop? How do we stop these injections, right? How do we stop this horror of a nightmare of what goes on? How do we do it? And that's stuff that I think we need to talk about too, on an energetic level. What is it going to take for us, right, to do this? So when Estelle and I were talking over the weekend, we had all these ideas. We were being very creative. And I want to tell the one about the beehive, okay, Stella?
Yes.
So where I live, a major bee grower took a whole warehouse, and converted it, and it's a live beehive. So it's got double, triple doors, and when you step in, it's a beehive. You are inside a live beehive. And I thought, why not? Why not? That's the most amazing thing I've heard of. The bees don't have any limits, right? They just get to fly in a special way for them to get in. They can go anywhere in the hive, and they can create anything they want. And Estelle and I said, well, we have these junk trailers, like these travel trailers, right? I'm like, we can convert them into beehives. We could do that. There's no reason why we can't do that. Because she wants to grow bees. I want to do bees. I don't know how many of you want to do bees. I was like, that's thinking different, right? That's literally thinking different. I was like, there isn't anything we can't do. And I'm going to go meet up with Estella when it's convenient for her and her husband. And we're going to go over the terracing. And we're going to figure out exactly what we need. We're going to scrounge as much as we can. And then we're going to write up a proposal if we have to, if we can't get everything that we need. And then we're going to bring it to the club and to you guys so that everybody can look at the proposal. But she sounds like she's got pretty much everything there already. So
Yeah.
we can have a whole other project up and running as well. So
Yeah. So this is what I'm seeing as my project. For example, I'm working all day. My husband is preparing he's building an area to put the seeds and the plants, and we have the terraces which I need to go and trim. We have a lot of blackberries, so actually this is like the blackberry land. So much you cannot even pick up the blackberries.
Which would be
And
good for the bees. Remember, Estella?
yeah, but so I had a talk with Kimberly, and then I listened to the Speak Project, and I tap into a lady that she was talking about this specific moment, and she connects with the Arcturians. She's like a channeler, and she was saying that this is a moment of reset. You know, like we are resetting ourselves and like letting go, you know, like what we were talking about, the way how we see life, you know, and choosing a new way of doing things, and learning to also to remove the negativity and thinking more in the what you're doing in creating what makes you happy, trying to maintain that frequency. And that's what we talked with Kimberly about, like, wow, we can start to do so many different things. Even though we don't have the funds, we can, you know, we can start to share the knowledge that each person has, and maybe do videos and put it in the New Earth. Like Kimberly knows so much about how to save seeds, how to, or, you know, or to do some canning, or, you know, do a particular subject, and you can do a 15-minute video and to share, you know, and people can go and learn about it. And so that was kind of, you know, try to do things that make us feel good, creating something, while at the same time you're planning the big project, but we still don't have the funds, you know. Why to wait when we can do something with what we have? And especially with our creativity, you know. I just want to share that.
Thank you, girls. Yeah, I just want to say a few words. Based on what I heard so far, and including last night, a lot of disappointment with a lot of people. And I just want to say, don't ever forget, when you're connected to Source, the biggest disappointments that come your way in your experience are nothing but the greatest opportunities for change. So whenever you get down, just remember that and say it to yourself over and over again, because that's the truth. With that said, we have two people on the call that I noticed haven't been introduced, and well, one has, but Emil hasn't been able to use his audio. If you can unmute Emil, we'd like to hear from you. I see you're in the chat every call. Still no sound. Okay. How about Marigita? I see you hiding down there.
I'm here.
Can you unmute? Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, please introduce yourself. This is the first call you've actually been on, correct?
Yes. I've been listening.
Great.
I've been listening, and I do feel a strong connection to your hearts and your disappointments. I didn't hear Thomas's message the other night or last night, but I will listen to it this evening. And I just want to say that all of you inspire me. I'm in LA, and there's a demonstration today, and funny that the news aren't covering it, but it was right by one of the freeways in protest for the death of someone, and they were blocking the freeway, and then last I saw, they were in front of the jail. So there's a lot of confusion in the streets, but we're on the right team. I don't care what the numbers look like. We're committed, to something beautiful. And I just want you to know that I'm standing with you no matter what. I'm a mother of 4 adult children, and I'm very, I'm concerned about not only my children, but the next generations. So it's a matter of coming out of, not knowing what to do. So I do need some of those videos because I don't understand a lot of the jargon and the terms, and they're new to me, and I'm willing to learn. And I think it's a great idea to do some of the videos because there's a learning curve in all the things we're trying to do. And I correct myself, that we are doing. There's a learning curve. So I'm willing and I'm going to set the time to watch and learn. And some of the things that I've been looking into in this time was to set up the gardens. And where I live, there's a lot of this city that I'm in. They allow chickens and roosters in the backyards. It's an unusual part of LA. And we're like 20 minutes from downtown, right? So I want to be able to tap into that. And at the same time, there's a lot of apartments. So they don't have a lot of room to grow. And one of the videos I was studying today, they were saying that every nursery has these big, almost every nursery has these big containers that are plastic, because some of the people the renters aren't allowed to put in, say, the square foot gardening or dig up the yards. And actually, if they move on from that rental, they could take them with them. So, and they said that they're very low cost. So I'm going to be following up that source because there's quite a few nurseries in my area. And I think that's an excellent opportunity for the families to be able to grow their own vegetables. And I know in my culture, one of the things that's almost every household that I ever visited in my family, relatives, they all had cactus. It was a certain type of cactus. And it's medicinal. It helps with diabetes. And that's one of the first things that I want to be able to tap into, because it's also drought resistant. And like right now, I heard from a good friend that her mother I would say she's in her late 80s, before everything closed down. She's my hairstylist. And we were sharing, and she said that her mom was diabetic. And I stopped her. I said, wait, go back. I said, ¿Qué dijiste? What did you say? She said, she used to be diabetic. I said, so wait. I said, slow down. Tell me what happened. She says, well, she eats the cactus 3 times a day with her salad or with her scrambled eggs in the morning. And her son is a doctor, and he always taking time to check how grandma's doing, and and she's off of her medication. And I needed that information because I have other family members that have diabetes. So it's there's so much hope, and we're trying to meet a need for food, but these things that are medicinal, that have been there all the time, but nobody shares it and nobody talks about it. So I'm so excited about that, And the cactus that we have, it's been in my family for generations, since I want to say, since I was, let's just say early 60s. And every time we've moved, we always took some of the pencas, some of the, I don't know what you call them in English, but it's a pad. So we've taken it to every home where my father lived. And so from there, my children have them because it's a special name, and it's supposed to be one of the best ones. And it's so exciting, And I thank you guys for giving me hope, because this isn't over. It's not even really begun. But I'm real happy that for your husband, Kim. My husband was in the hospital not too long ago. This was like get kind of emotional about this, because your husband was in danger, and my husband went into the hospital and he was put in ICU within hours. This was like when it was the day that the helicopter crashed, when Kobe was in. Before midnight, he was at ER. And the very next day, early, and he had like 2 or 3 real serious things. And 4 days later, he walked out of the hospital. The pictures, I have a picture of him walking out. It looked like he came out of a hotel. It didn't look like that was the doors to the hospital. It looked like he came out like he had a break, like, a vacation. So that kind of gratitude, I feel that gratitude for your husband, Kimberly, that his life was spared. He's not done yet. None of us are done yet. So, I don't know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Margarita. Kimberly has a question.
Okay.
Mariquita, hi. Do you think you could write an article about the cactus for our website?
Oh, sure. I've never really written an article, so if you
just like you talk,
walk me through it.
Write it like you talk. I was just struck the second you started talking about it. All I could picture was this cactus, and I really want some. I was like, oh my word. Oh.
Okay.
Or you can use your phone and take some pictures of cactus,
Yes.
and then maybe we transcribe it,
Yeah, that's okay. Because I know for a fact that a lot of people that live in apartments and with a pot, and you just keep trimming it, like to make it like where you say you have 3 pads tall, and then all the new ones, that's what you actually use. The other one becomes like a little trunk to a tree. So you could let it grow sideways, maybe a foot. It doesn't have to take up a lot of room, because so many people have condos, and it shouldn't be a problem. And I noticed this, a lot of the markets are carrying them now, diced or whole. And if they just use one of those, they could get started. Okay. The one that I think this one particular one, don't quote me, but it's either Castile or, oh man, it's been years since I heard my aunts talking about it. But I could mail it to you, or we could figure, some of the ones that my son has, and I know one of my sisters has. So how long do you want it?
As long as you want it to be. I mean, it's a real cultural, wonderful, diverse thing to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The history that you just explained to us is how it went from house to house. People will love that. That's something people can adapt. It makes me want to know more about this cactus, literally.
Oh, well, let me tell you a funny story. My brother, Richie, I shouldn't make me, I didn't have permission to use his name, but it's us, right? It's just us. He would mow the lawn at 6 years old, right? And I couldn't start the lawnmower. He would come and start it for me at 6 years old, so he had a lot of upper body strength. But he would run over the pencas. He would run over the cactus in the yard. If there was one that fell, or he would hit it with the lawnmower. And then it got to the point where we had a railroad track behind our house, and there was a high fence. So my brother, before he got tired of running over the cactus, I guess, he would throw them over the fence like a frisbee. So what happened is years later, on the part where the wall was not brick, there was like a hole in the wall. It comes to find out that the people that would ride the trains would come out from that hole in the fence, and some had not eaten in like 3 days. Okay, and my mother, we would look at her and we'd tell her, "Mom, oh, you're gonna make me go out there. Don't make me go out there." You know, we were kids, so you're like under 10 years old. She said, "No, you're gonna take them some tacos." We had to take these young people riding the trains, all ages actually, but she make burritos, and then she'd get jackets out of my dad's closet, clothes, and they hadn't washed in days. So then she'd get the water hose, but we tell her, "Mom, we don't want to go out there. We're kind of, we were kind of scared to go out there, But she was watching us. She was right there on the porch. But it was just a handoff, right, kind of thing. But then she would walk over to them and ask them where they were from, and they tell her they hadn't eaten some of them in 3 days and things like that. So I saw a side of my mother, and that's how we grew up, Well, that same hole fast forward years later, we would see people go down with these buckets. Some were our neighbors up the street. And we never thought of what happened. Do you know that my brothers throwing those cactus over the fence grew? It was feeding families. They would go down there. And we said, "Richie, look at everything they grew." And he was like, "Yeah, well, whatever, little kid still, He's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever that means." I go, "No, amigo, look, they're eating the cactus." Because we used to yell at them, "Well, don't throw cactus over, don't, what are you doing?" It's just, we had no idea that it went down the embankment behind our wall. And it wasn't until years later, the Union Pacific or whatever the railroad is, they actually did some work down there and they bulldozed all of the cactus.
Oh.
But you know how hardy cactus are? I'm going to have to go and look and see if they're still down there, because now that it came into our minds here, I would not be surprised if they were still there, unless they put cement, because it was a different level. Our backyard was higher than where the railroad tracks ran, and it was like 12 railroad tracks. But I'll never forget that some people, when they actually, the Pacific, the railroad closed that hole in the fence, so they would go 4 blocks south and walk the whole fence to get to where those cactus were. And I was thinking, why didn't they just plant a few? They could have had their own, their own little crop. But because all you do is put even a fraction of the pad, the penca, in the soil, because all those little parts that are sharp and they're like, you could get, you get stuck in your fingers. Okay, my dad used to burn them off. He cut all those little, it would be like, how do you call them?
Stickers.
Yes. So he would take them off with the knife at the sink, and I've had those, and I handled it wrong, right? But he would use his knife and cut them all off. But then, to be sure, he would hold them with some tongs over the fire in the kitchen to make sure every one of those things got burned all the way down. In fact, we just barbecued a whole bunch for the weekend.
Margarita, what do you call that in the stores? Like in Mexico, it's not called cactus.
No, nopales.
Nopales.
Nopales, yes.
Now,
there's always a woman using a potato peeler, scraping off the stickers, and it's excellent. I used to eat it almost every day. Do you think it's better to eat it raw, or I used to saute it for, I'd put it in with eggs and for breakfast, and I'd cook it with steaks at night.
Yes.
Is it better to eat it raw?
Well, if you were growing your own, don't let them get like really full grown. Let them be thin, not real thin, but like the size of your hand, would be a very excellent size. On the weekend, one of our relatives brought over a good batch. He barbecued like 10, and they weren't real big. And I noticed that the real thin ones on the barbecue, they got overdone right away and they burnt. So maybe the little bit larger, a little thicker, like I might want to say about a little less than half an inch. And I would saute them with eggs, things like that. Now, when my friend was telling me, she says her mother puts garlic in there, tomatoes when she's sauteing. So, because actually, I liked it better on the barbecue. You know why? I didn't realize it had its own salt. It's like, whoa, it was wonderful, smoky, and so the next day we had leftovers. I had nopales twice as a side dish, and even the burn one, I just cut off the burn part. So as long as you don't overcook them, because again, the temperature would do that to any vegetable. But you try them out any which way you can and want, because the tomato juice and the garlic, the flavors right there. Woo! And you don't have to add salt to it, because I salt a lot of my food, okay? And I thought I was going to have to salt but I never had it barbecued. So somehow the flavor, and it was a little bit chewy, okay? I don't have a problem with that because it was delicious. So it's good any way you like it, okay? Just don't overdo it, because here's what happened. Some of them got too dry, and they charred too much. And they were the thin ones, so they don't fare so well. So you don't want, because I noticed they sell some like at Northgate Market. I don't know how far up north they go or how far south. But Northgate actually has them already cut up in a bag. And my daughter started bringing home these bags already cut up. And I noticed they let them get a little bit almost to the half inch. And I was like, it tastes a little woody, like kind of too, they're pasados, they've been on the thing too long, okay? But you just take the little woody ones out, put them to one side, maybe plant them. You might get one to grow. But if they took off that part that would poke you, that part is where the seed is. That's the part you want in the ground to start your own cutting, like a cutting. So from one penca, you could get like a dozen more little to sprout them. That's how prolific it is. My father had pencas. He sold his house. After he passed, they sold the house. And he had pencas from the original house in LA. I'm talking South Central LA. And I would look at the pencas. Those things were decades old. They were thick, like inches. But they kept sprouting all these new ones, and he let it go. I mean, he loved to he would go out there, get over dozens of them off his own, in his own backyard. And so when they sold it, you know what they did, the realtors? They took out, I'm not going to cry. They took out his lemon trees, his grapefruit trees, his peach trees, oh God, I can't even think of all the trees he had. And the pencas. So I looked at the house on Zillow, and it looks bare. But in a way, I guess it's good because it's a blank canvas for the owner. But those trees were grown from Mexico. He had a lemon, a particular lemon, the size of a lime. And you would think, oh, well, how much juice could you get out of that one lemon? Okay. The same size as a lime. Chiquito, we say, little one. I would get the ones in the store, and I would squeeze the lemon up. I'm not kidding you. I got the same amount from this little one that my father grew in his backyard. And one of my sisters says she has seeds that she saved of that one. And I know I have some too here, but when we moved, you know how you put things away so good and you can't find them, but I'm gonna track those down.
Yeah, Mariquita, do you think you could make a food project out of that?
Oh, well, give me some guidance. My idea of a food project in yours might be different.
Message me and I'll get you started with that, okay? That would be super interesting to have.
Okay, you got it.
Also, Marigita, please tell everyone where you're from.
It's a great idea, like simple things like that you can becomes medicine and also nourishment. It's very accessible. I think that's like you said, the hope. Project Hope.
Yeah, and it's drought tolerant
because
I have friends that
I know people that take the medicine like diabetes is so expensive, and if you don't have insurance, people struggle a lot. So having these options, I think, is you free yourself from that dependency, and you heal yourself, through the natural stuff.
So, Marigita, please tell everyone where you're from in Los Angeles, and your team leader for Los Angeles, the distribution centers, is Demi. If you want to put your contact information into the chat to Demi, this way you can be in contact with all the people in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. I'll do that then. And let's see. Anything else?
You're from El Monte, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm right off of where we have Pasadena, where they have the Rose Parade, a little bit west of us, and it's an area that it's quite dense. We don't have high rises and things like that, like downtown LA, where they have so many, those big skyscrapers now. But there's a lot of families that I've worked with food ministries before, and we would pick up food in downtown LA by the Hollywood Freeway. And it was past the interchange, past Alvera Street, a little more west. And this particular place, the church had a 501c3, so we didn't pay for any food. But we did have to sign that we wouldn't sell anything, which wasn't a problem. Everything, freely you're given, freely you give. So we would take it to the neighborhood families. And I know there was a senior center, a senior home, like somehow the city where the church was, so West Camino, they had built like half of it for families and the other half was for seniors. And so when we would bag the food, and there was this particular family that she was who I would drop the food off to. And so she would supply food. It was so weird. I would give her like 10 bags, tomatoes and hot peppers, a lot of fresh food actually. And the seniors would tell her, I can't eat 5 tomatoes. I can't eat 5 chilies. I can't eat this and that. So this lady, she says, Maria, I have to tell you, I'm just subdividing the bags you bring me. I said, well, no problem. You listen to what they need. What are they telling you? She says, they want 2 tomatoes, 1 chili. They made it last. It was so spicy. She made like over a dozen bags. I was like, what? And she would take them to their doors. And the seniors didn't have to, have to worry. And that was every week. And then I found out that one of her kids was a teenager. And so he was taking out their trash to their trash cans, emptying their trash. So even the young kids were getting involved in that kind of thing. And then one day the manager tried to call the police on us for some reason. So, but she lived there, so she couldn't be kicked out, right? So, and I think she kind of got activated after we came across that threat, you know. And I remember asking my husband, I said, "Do you think the pastor would bail us out?" I said, he looked at me like, why are you saying that? Oh, well, they just said might call the police on us and they were trespassing. I was like, whatever. And they never did. And it was like, but it was kind of scary though, because we had the kids, you know. And I was like, oh man, I never thought it would come to something like this, you know. But even to this day, I could go knock on the lady's door this day. And it's been a while since we've had that. So the connections, and she's one of the persons I'm going to be talking to, even though she's in West Covina. That's family, new family, new, you know, because I was thinking about this today. I was talking to somebody and I said, you know, I have a lot of people in Mexico, and we never saw homelessness over there. I was born over there. My father immigrated us over here. And I said, we didn't have homelessness. I said, even up here in California, because my father, we immigrated, I was 3 years old. And if a relative would come up here and they didn't have a place to live when they were waiting for, you know, to get a job and everything, and they didn't leave until they had a savings, they got a job, got a savings, and then moved. So fast forward to today, I'm one of the matriarchs. I am. So they would come to my house. In fact, if they didn't come, I would be so surprised, and I'd say, what are you doing? I have a house, even if it's just a couch or a little day bed or whatever. I said, you get your bearings, get yourself squared up, you know. And the only homelessness I saw was in Mexicali, where a lot of the young men would come to cross the border. And sometimes they're lured, they're telling them it's so easy to cross. And I was in high school, I think. And I remember there was a park, and there was like 100 young men there. And my aunt was so sad. She said, look at there. And I said, well, what are they doing? She said, well, it's not as easy to cross the border. And a lot of them, because Mexicali is a desert, in the summer they would die from the heat, and it was cold. I said, are they outside? And I couldn't understand that's the only time I ever saw homelessness. And then years later, somebody opened up a shelter in one of the churches. So, but they still didn't have room for as many were coming up, you know. So it's because usually the families would open their doors. However long it took, there was no, I'll give you 2 weeks or something like that. And oh my gosh, if they wanted to give us money, we'd be like, no. You're going to need that for your setting up your own, and just you do the same. One day you will do the same. You will be the albergue. Albergue is a shelter. You will be the shelter one day. And it happens. One of my cousins that came up with like that, she's got the biggest house today. And she's younger than me. And for her, it's a joy to have people over her house. And every time I go over, oh, so-and-so just left. And sometimes it's a visit. Sometimes it's a relocation or things like that. And her face is lights up. I made them pozole. I made them mole. I made them this. And tomorrow I teach how to do mole at one of my little family members' home. So it's a delicacy kind of in my house. For our birthdays, every time my mother said us, what do you want? And we all said mole. Since we were third grade, I remember. You know, so that's part of hospitality and joy. All of that, it's in the same vein, you know. So, well, I didn't mean to ramble.
Thanks, Margarita.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Margarita.
And there might be some questions coming your way. Go ahead, Phyllis.
Well, we have a few hands raised, but I don't recall, Philip, have you introduced yourself? I know you were on the call before, but I couldn't remember if there was a chance for you to introduce yourself and say where you are and that kind of thing.
Yes, I did introduce myself.
Oh, that's right. I see
Very
you.
briefly, very briefly. So I do have something to say now.
Okay.
Let's see. So I've been looking into food. I live in an apartment next to Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. They blocked off the roof now because people went up to their party with high heel shoes on and poked through the roof. So we can't use the roof at all. So he's not going to allow us to go and like build a tower gardens up there or a platform or anything. So I've been looking into other stuff. So what I've found, came up with, is that I've got regular plants here, but what I came up with is sprouting. Discovered that you can take like jars like this. I don't know if you can see it. You understand, the canning jars?
Yeah, that's great.
So that kind of thing. So these are about 5-6 days old, and they're long and they've got leaves going on them. Where's the camera? Like leaves even. So it's just, these are mung beans that I got at Rainbow Grocery. Get health food store stuff, organic, that hasn't been irradiated, and it's not likely to be as old. So if it's dried beans, but not too old, not more than a year old, they'll sprout. So no cooking. You don't have to cook them. Just soak them for 8 hours, etc. And then you rinse them twice a day in fresh water. Just rinse them, keep them wet, and they, there's in my kitchen with no particular light or anything, and the energy of the bean, etc., and the sprouting just pushes out, etc., and then they're ready to eat. At any point. They've been ready. I mean, this is what's left. This is another one, so it's just full. It's just absolutely full of stuff, and that's just from 2 tablespoons of mung beans, little beans. So it's turned into all that.
So what'd you do to make those again, Philip? You soak them for 8 hours?
Yeah, I just put 2 tablespoons in here. That doesn't need, not even enough to totally cover the bottom.
Okay.
It's just one layer, not even that much.
Okay.
And then add water well to cover well.
Okay.
For at least 8 hours. I leave it for 12. I can figure 8 to 8 or something a lot easier.
Okay.
And then drain it, and then rinse it twice a day. And within 2 days or so, it begins to sprout.
All right.
It casts off the cover a little bit, and then it just starts sprouting. So it changes the nature of the protein in it. Mm-hmm. It makes it much more bioavailable and easy to digest.
Okay.
And it just starts growing. It's just got the power of doesn't need dirt. Nothing. So it's just it's from whatever stage you want to eat it. It's ready to eat right out of here.
You'd have to cook it, or you just eat it?
No, you can just eat it like in a salad. Sprouts.
Wow. Okay.
I remember sprouts in sandwiches. We used to get those all the time.
Yeah.
So so there's sprouts. So all kinds of things. So I've broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts. So I found seed packets in a hardware store, my favorite hardware store. And so I'm going to try those, broccoli sprouts and alfalfa. I tried the mung beans first.
Okay.
And, I bought the mung beans in a packet, and then I compared it to the mung beans I bought from the grocery store. And they looked exactly the same, so I tried the ones I got from the grocery store, and they sprouted just fine. So $2 a pound versus $4 for a packet, really cheap. really cheap. 2 tablespoons has made all this
Wow.
so
Wow,
far.
that's amazing.
And
That's
that's
amazing.
just 3 days old. So this is something people in apartments could do to add protein and something fresh and live. It's alive, the energy of the life, the sprout coming up. It's like, I'm going to grow, you know.
That's
So
fantastic. I've got a whole bunch of mung beans that I bought last summer, just kind of in case of the worst case scenario. And so I've got 100 pounds of mung beans. So I may just start opening up and doing that. And, you know, that's great. So, and other things too. So yeah, I live in an apartment, and so it's pretty limited, but that looks fantastic. So thank you.
yeah, so just the one thing is you don't want to cover it. You don't want to block off the oxygen, of course. So that's all. So I don't close the lid on it. They sell screens to go over it, but the screens are for a smaller jar that I've seen. That they sell are for a smaller jar.
Yeah.
So I want to get some screening, and
Why do you need that?
Well, it just keeps it open for oxygen and keeps the bugs from getting into it, maybe.
Oh.
Possibly. And then because you want to drain it, you want to put water in and drain it, like swish it and rinse it and drain it. That could make it a little easier to drain it with that screen over it, you know. So it could make it easier. So that's what I'm going to try next.
Could you use the, what do they call it, cheesecloth? Is it possible to use cheesecloth?
Yeah, sure. It does.
Okay.
It doesn't really require light.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting multi-filtered light from between buildings, you know, in through the blinds in my kitchen, and it's growing like that. So it doesn't require light. It's like the seed would, or the bean would do underneath the dirt, and it would sprout and push up until it got out and said, "Hey, here I am."
Well, as long as you've got green there, that means it's absorbing sunlight, which means it's growing, so it's getting some light. So you're getting more from that than when you started, more protein from that than you started. So that's really incredible.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just on the phone with my niece in Dallas, telling her about that. I've been subsidizing them to start a garden going down there. Etc. So, so I was experimenting with this, and so I'm just thrilled. They taste good. It's great. So, you know, it's got roots here too. I suppose I could go and take and plant them then.
Well, you know, may I suggest that you and Mariquita, just as Jim suggested, that write something up and put it on our site, because it'd be nice to have kind of a little archive of this and experiences and just basics. You know, what you did.
Yeah, I'll do pictures
with pictures. Yeah.
So here's the jar with the screen that you were talking about.
Okay.
But here's the thing: as good of a gardener as I am, this is where I got to. That's why I was so interested in what you were saying, because I've tried to grow them in this jar and I can't. So I want to get the jar that you have, and I want to try. So
it's not the jar. What do you mean? What did you do?
It could be the seeds. I bought these. Hang on a second. I bought these sprouting seeds. You guys see that?
Yes.
I bought these specifically for sprouting, but I can't even get a sprout. So when you said maybe they're too old, maybe they sold them to me too old. I bought them from a specialty garden place. Maybe they're just too old. I don't know. But I've tried exactly what you were saying, and I had no luck whatsoever.
Right. Well, so if they're a little too old, I talked to the people in my my favorite organic farms, etc. on Sunday, and they went and said, well, the beans. Ask them if the beans they sell, these ancient brand green, what do you call it? Specialty beans, dried beans. And said, would these sprout? And it says, yeah. And it's, as long as they're not too old, the beans will sprout. So as long as they're picked, and I said, are these picked? When were these picked or done? She says, well, last year. She says, if they're much older than a year or two, like you get in the stores or something like that, they might not sprout. But and they'll take longer to cook and stuff like that too. So, but then in the stores, some of the stores, if they're crossing state lines, they might get irradiated also.
Oh, yes.
Okay, which might kill them.
Right.
So you could cook them and get some value out of that, but sprouting might not work.
Right.
I tried some sunflower seeds that were raw that I got at the health food store, 6 months ago, and a few of them, like a third of them, began to sprout after like 5 days, but it was really pathetic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can find some fresher ones somehow, or I don't know what, but yeah.
Right.
So it's the quality of the seeds and beans.
Oh, well, that makes sense because I can get anything to grow it.
Yeah, how old they are, whether they're irradiated or not. So something local would be better. Not likely to be irradiated because it's not crossing state lines, not sitting in some warehouse forever. So anyway, I'll write this up more, but
yeah, if you write it up, I'll follow it. I'll take your tutorial and I'll do it because I want to be able to do it. I want to be successful with sprouts. Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm thrilled. I bought the seed packets. They're ready they say they're good for sprouting. So, but they're still expensive. It's like $3-5 for a packet.
They were expensive. Yeah, these were expensive.
And so, I bought 2 pounds of the mung beans for $2.09 a pound. Right. And they are sprouting. This is what I'm getting from them.
Oh my word. I'm going to go do that.
Oh, haven't even tried. I opened the seed packet to compare. Could these be different? Really?
Right.
So, so I tried the regular stuff, the cheap stuff from the Rainbow Foods, and this is what I'm getting. It's working. It's like every single one is sprouting. Every single one.
There you go.
So
this is what I'm going to use, Phil.
There you go.
This is what I'm going to use. It's a Coke, 2 liter. I'm going to cut it off here. And now I'm going to put your mung beans in there, and I'm going to see what happens because the container's free and it's big.
Yep.
And all I got to do is sit around.
Great. Cut it off higher up. Higher up where the Coke is.
High.
Yeah.
Label?
Well, yeah, a little bit lower.
Lower?
Yeah, about there.
Yeah.
As long as you can get your hand into it.
Yes. Okay, then I can do it all the way up here.
Yeah, whatever, sure.
Making a mung bean. Oh, this is fantastic. I'll report on this in 2 weeks. Maybe next week.
So I'm adding that in. I'm adding this in with spinach or regular salad, etc. But you can do this alone. Yep. Enough of them makes a salad on its own with extra protein and fresh, alive energy. So
I'll stick them on a
That's a great project. That's an excellent project, Philip. Thank you.
I'll write that up. Thanks.
Philip, maybe the whole neighborhood after this, and if my thing works, then the whole neighborhood will start to do it. So just like with Kimberly and Mariquita. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, well, you can. I'm gonna, now that this is working, I might start to do more and give them away to people nearby and see if I can get anything going and meet my neighbor. Somebody on the street went and gave me a bunch of lemons, the lady next door. So I might return the favor and give her a bunch of sprouts or something. But I don't see these people often, and nobody around here connects a lot. So
that would be a good icebreaker, giving away those greens. That would be nice.
Could be. I love the lemons she gave me. So okay, thanks. I'm gonna mute myself now.
That's okay. Thank you, Philip.
Let other people talk. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. You've given me an idea. I think we ought to have a cooking corner on the website. Why not? We could have people with their ideas of how they may grow things, but let's have a few recipes to go along with what they're growing and how they actually put an article to say from the beginning of how they grew it to how they fixed it up, how they eat it would be great. Okay, Estella has her hand up.
Actually, I love what you guys did because I'm listening and I bought the bag of sprouts, but mine cost like $12. So wow, imagine all what you could get with $4. And if my $12 I'm spending in the $4, I can give, it's like the story of the new lady, you can give food to much more people, you know, the one that broke the 5 tomatoes into 2 tomatoes and then 1 jalapeno. I mean, the sprouts is a great idea to you know, help with little donations, you know. I mean,
Yes.
it's I never thought you can buy this for $4 a pound. You said $4 a pound? Oh,
$2.09 a pound.
oh, it's even cheaper.
Mung beans aren't that popular here, I guess. So I also
Yeah.
want to say that this all works. This will all work all winter long, also. When you can't be growing stuff in the gardens, and it's live food. So okay.
Well, that's a great idea. You know, if you know you buy the fresh mung beans and you know you have a year, you buy a couple pounds, you just kind of reserve for in case of with like food. This would be a different kind of food bank, right? You're prepared for the unexpected. And I think it's something good to people also realize on that, you know, with little money, instead to go and buy, like they say, the earthquake food, you know, you can do much more with this and start to grow. So thank you. That was very educational.
Okay, thank you, Stella. Sean.
Yeah, I guess just want to say I got a question for everybody, and maybe I can direct more to Kimberly because I know she plants and she's planting a lot. Do you guys know of Dr. Zach Bush? Have you ever heard of Dr. Zach Bush before? He's really into like soil, soil regeneration and stuff. He's really good. He's really awesome. Just a really awesome person, and I think you guys should check him out because he's got a really good organization of like bringing back independent farming and getting rid of GMO stuff, and he's really awesome. I'd recommend looking him up, and he's just a really good person to like reach out to maybe too because he's got a big fan base. Maybe not really big, but he's really interesting person. I recommend everybody check him out. I'll also post videos of him talking, and so you guys can understand what I'm saying.
Very good. No, I was just going to suggest that, Sean, because we can always put things up on the website too. There's always we're always looking for something to post.
Yeah, he's really good. The way he approaches farming and stuff, and it's like all about the soil, and it's all about the bacteria in the soil and bringing that bacteria back because bacteria is actually good for you. It's not something we should be spraying all the time, but I don't know much about farming. Like I don't have a green thumb at all, but what he's saying makes a lot of sense, and it's like he just seems like one of these people that can save the world if he was more popular. So it's just something I think we should look into too, because he seems to be on the right track with a lot of stuff. So I'll definitely post some stuff on the group so you guys can check them out.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. Okay, Ken. Hi, Ken. How you doing?
There we go. I should be on now. You got me?
Gotcha.
Oh boy, yeah. Hey, wow. Hey, it's really good to see y'all. How's everybody? Everybody good?
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Jim. How many we got? We got about 10 or 15, something like that.
Full house.
Outstanding. Please forgive me for missing last week, but I think I posted some stuff on what That's just been wild around here. I live on a ley line. The house, they built, some of the churches are built on ley lines. And there's a church right up the road. I did some research when we first got here years ago. And at that time, it was a noxious line. But boy, the stuff that comes down the driveway here is to the south. It's pretty wild. I wanted to check and see how everybody is doing with their computers. If everyone's got their security, secondary security, if there's been any problems at all. I understand that, Phyllis, everything's working okay for y'all.
Yep, it even let me get into Zoom tonight.
Oh, you had
It gave me a message. It was safe for me to get into Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Good old
Yeah.
Norton 360. That
Yeah,
was the baby. Norton 360.
Good. Yeah. When I went to go look, I guess it just was divine action that it was half off, 49. That's a pretty good price. I'm paying $100 a year, but I have the link to send to the other gal. I got your email, and I'll send her that link. Does anyone else need any information about security or have any problems? Some stuff you're not even gonna know. They're there. Tonight, originally, I'm late because the clocks just seem to be flying past. I'm using my body clock more than a clock, and the sun is up later around here, and I'm just late. So I had the Zoom ID written, and I got on the phone. I said, well, I'm going to stay on the phone because I've heard Zoom's had some problems in the past here. And I wouldn't work with the password and everything. And so I said, oh, well, maybe Newark, California, it's changed. And it looked like all the same numbers. I had to switch computers because the other one was. And so I went on the phone again. It wouldn't accept the password. So I hit the end. I have one of those cordless phones. I have a backup. That's the old 2-wire, but I have a cordless. And when I hit end, it was on another line. Somebody else close around with the same frequency I'm on was there. It was like, just blew my mind. I said, wow, what a little divine message there. So I hung up the phone and got on Zoom. Here I am. So there's all kinds of frequencies out there, the firewalls, do your own research. I hope everybody's got security. We start entering in money. It is a secondary security, or the primary security is source in the quantum system, and it's worked with me. There's been more than once, like maybe 4 or 5 times that quantum, the source has jumped in on my firewall programs that I run when I get on the computers that before I even run the software programs themselves. And something happens for deposited. Either a thought will come across that is not going to work, or I have the intentions not there. I don't have any negative intentions. I don't think I never try giving a negative intention. But if there's a security issue or safety like tonight with a phone, bang, here I am. And to let you know, especially in San Francisco, who is that? Who is in San Francisco?
Philip?
There you are.
Will, yeah.
You're in San Francisco, right near the Golden Gate Bridge. That's got to be just jam full of frequencies and all kinds of stuff, huh?
Yeah. I use a VPN.
That's okay, but you still need a firewall, you still need a firewall with a VPN. Doesn't matter, right?
Well, yeah,
You know
I've got a firewall on stealth mode.
On Windows or what?
Apple.
Forget about it. There's holes in everything.
Yeah. So what do you recommend?
I recommend a secondary antivirus program. A lot of people think Macs are immune. I can tell you they are not.
They're not immune. No.
Well, they I have a Norton that works great for me, but I'm not selling Norton. I'm not an agent for Norton. I'm not trying to sell anything. You can do your own research, and I'm sure that with your intention being positive for the free will, it'll fall in your lap and maybe something else. Norton 360 has a sale going on now. If you want, I can send you a link for that, like I did Phyllis. And
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But
yeah.
I put in I had major issues when I was running trying to run Windows on a virtual on Mac.
Yeah.
And then I got hacked.
Oh yeah.
And my computer got taken over, et cetera. So I pulled the plug and I haven't tried to run Windows again.
Yes.
But then I installed some. It's I can't remember the name of it. What?
Kaspersky Labs.
Yeah, I put in Kaspersky, and then I got hacked.
Yeah, Kaspersky. Yep, that's right. I was going to warn you about that.
Okay, so I've had Norton before, but the information I was getting was that even they're kind of hackable, or
well,
not
they're
the greatest. But
they're all there. There's nothing out there that has back doors, but we're a different kind of people here. Our main security is source, and when you go in there knowing with the intention of first of all, you're purchasing the software, and you are on a contract. They must, and you're under cosmic law, and your security with source will step in there and protect you if you have the right frequency. If you're a lower frequency, or it was like 2 or 3 years ago when we were in a different place, this is in my knowledge and research, humbly, it was a whole different story than it is right now. I mean, things are changing now like I've never seen before. The sky, the stuff I'm seeing in the sky right now, oofta, wow. So
yeah, I've photographed a bunch of chemtrails here lately.
Well, yeah, they're up there, but I'm talking about some little friends and the big friends. And after the revocation with Thomas, I mean, Thomas really had me going. I was at a very high state of frequency, and I was following his. It was the cease and desist orders we gave out yesterday, and I was very loud, very forceful, very positive, though. But I was on his. I was really putting the energy out there. When I went outside last night to walk the dog, I just happened to get a tap to look up, and there was a big ship up there above me, bigger than I thought. Well, it must be the first star, and there was no other stars, and it was just barely twilight, and then it moved, and it stopped. And then I used to call them watchers. They've always been around, the watchers. They turned flash red and green kind of for me. But I said, hey, you feel positive? We sure could use your help. And I talked to it's like recognizing a nucleus within an atom, if anybody knows that. Only a human being can recognize that. Put a camera on a microscope, it will not spot the nucleus. But a human being can spot it every time, and it'll show up in a different place. You look at the movie called Mind Walk, they talk about it. But I talked, recognized positive frequency, looked down at the dog just to make sure he was okay, so I had him off the leash. I was up at the park. I looked up, and he was gone, or she was gone, whatever, right? And that was a definite, things are just moving really fast. So when you purchase this on a secondary, and your intent is good, at higher frequencies that we stay at, or attempt to stay at to the best of our ability, they're not going to be able to get in. They will fail. This is not their time. Thomas has said that many times. I've said it. I've known it. So you can also run a program yourself. you can change the script in this movie we're in, and I run shields up, clear, firewall, run, free will positive side. Always I got to know who you're talking to. Unless any negative energy comes in, I'll just run that. That's the first. That's my primary stuff. And then the secondary, your secondary, you'll have a double firewall. My Mac, and this one here doesn't come up as often, Windows 10, but the Mac has, I've got an older system on there, and I've been online for a while with that one, and I'm a lot of the times on the CIA channels or on a hot news item, or if I'm on chasing a deer trail for the truth, they'll just start hammering me with incoming connections. Pardon me, there's some pollen outside. This is that time of year. But I will get hammered, sometimes the extent to where I've got to shut down the browser, freeze up, and I've got to just hold the power button down and shut off. And I'm location, I don't want to talk too much about it, but you know, I have my location mirrored. The VPN will do that. But anybody without computer security these days and without the intent of the free will positive and the high frequency that we're at, they will not even know that your stuff is being taken. I mean, I hear a lot of people, the banks, your passwords. I wouldn't use password managers. I wouldn't go on LifeLock if you're with Norton, because that's Symantec, but stay off the cloud and just clean your cache. So is there anybody out there that needs anything for any help with anything that as far as that's concerned? And did I miss anything the first hour?
Just a general discussion talking about distribution projects, etc. This is an open session tonight, so.
Cool. So I missed Thomas, but I was dealing with you know, you have a chance to save a human being. You know, he's this fellow was worth saving. He was tied up with what I would call a bruja and nasty stuff. She came after me. She found out I was protecting him, but taught him the frequency bandwidth stuff to not feed into it and to separate yourself and just keep that wide separation between low and high frequency, and don't feed the beast.
Kenny, I really think that person is a host
Yeah.
for a dark entity.
Oh.
There's no question from the sound of behavior. No way is that some person with a soul connection that's working right. They're definitely interfered with something that they're hosting. So
yeah, and you know, it turns out that she wasn't after him. She was after me. My feeling. I may be wrong, but and maybe after Wendy. But both of us, probably both of us, the light shining. You know, her entrance was just way too tactical. She came in at a time like when I remote viewed it, it was, and I look at it now, it's like she stepped through a portal or a gate. Maybe back 30, she's 33. There's that number, that Masonic number. She says she's 33. But anyways, I'm not a threat to her, and all I did was save that fella, and I sent back I mirrored. Oh boy, she got slammed. But there's a lot of the masks are falling off. Give me a pair of I don't even need the sunglasses like the movie, you know. Is that They Live, the movie? Oh. Remember that one? But San Francisco, I hear it. I'm curious about some human intel. What's going on down there with the homelessness stuff? Philip, if I can ask you, what's going on down there?
Okay, I'm almost 70, so I don't I haven't been getting out a lot. I'm still recuperating from knee operations also. So I'm walking in the park because I can distance now. People don't bump me over, so I'm not using a cane for
Yeah.
the first time in years. So
Okay.
yeah, it's actually getting better, and I can go further. But I'm out by the Golden Gate Park. There are homeless. There are homeless in my neighborhood over the last year or so, and I
Okay.
never used to see homeless out here. So,
If it's
um,
still seeing them there now.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They're in the
How
park.
about
They're up and down the streets in doorways.
okay.
Our
How about
front
people?
door doesn't lock all the time, so we found homeless in our lobby overnight
Okay.
3 weeks
I'm just
ago.
curious if they're getting picked up yet. I've got some stuff going on with FEMA, being very aware of them and doing what I can to take care of that. What about people jumping off the bridge?
I'm not aware of that. I've gotten on next door sometimes, but so there's more local kind of crime. People trying to break into garages and steal bikes and uh, cars and anything else. Weird stuff going down around here that never used to be happening.
Yeah.
So it's all getting worse. Um, I don't know about the homeless getting picked up or taken away.
Okay.
I went down to Rainbow Grocery with a friend who had a car. I don't have a car either. So she drove me down there. We went, and that's where I got the mung beans and uh, et cetera. So there were homeless camps all around in blocks around. It just really looked
Okay.
worse.
That's all I needed to know. I wanted to know there's a lot of I'm hearing of and feeling suicides, people not doing well with this being what it is.
There's a lot of mental health
Yeah,
out here.
that's the damage. And I'm in a special place. I've got some acacia trees out here, and they drive my stuff me up. But other than that, the I'm very fortunate that I'm on the coast in a small town, but it is still going loony. We do have a reservation up for the Pomos. This is originally Pomo land. We had to do some work there with the ghost dancers that were here and the betrayal that was here, and recognize their right to their land here and the spirits. If you're we're wide open to the spirit world here, and you must respect that kind of stuff, and we do. Before we worked with that, Wendy and I, the stuff that was, oh my goodness. Anybody else, human intel in the cities, seeing any anything other than nursing homes? I mean, we know about the nursing homes now more from Thomas, but I'm really curious about, I'm just, the feelings I'm getting. Anybody in the city or got anything to report about FEMA or anything I need to know about? Anybody online?
Well, from LA, I don't see anything unusual. There are less homeless people in Hollywood, but it was really strange. On May 1st, I was down around City Hall because there was a protest, and it just blows me away that if there's any homeless camp that's more populated than City Hall, I don't know what. All around City Hall, this homeless everywhere. And the city isn't the cities and the government supposed to take care of people in need instead of decorating their lawn with them? But I was just really appalled. And over the bridges across the freeway coming from the government center are homeless tents. It's almost like they're advertising this. And so everyone who drives under the bridge, and some very beautiful bridges, you see this, and it's really strange. It's deliberate. They're letting this happen deliberately, and I just don't know. But that is where I see the most of the homeless, that I've encountered. But I know there's more than that.
Okay, nobody's seen any FEMA vehicles. What about cops? Nasty cops? Any really?
Truth is, the only cop, I don't see any cops in Hollywood. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I was in Minneapolis for 2 weeks, and there are cops, you know, coming and going. People get the feeling there's cops. Here, I never see cops. It's weird.
Well, they got kids. They got kids too. You know, they know that if they don't play the game right, they become targets.
Well, I guess so, but you know,
That's
you do have a job to do, and when they're seen on the street, people get the idea there may be some consequences if they do.
Well, if they, I mean, there are some out there that are bots that will unfortunately affect people's reaction to good cops. The cops around here, the stateies, CHP, and the sheriffs, they're doing a good job. They're not, from what I can tell, hassling anybody. They're just running up and down the roads. They're not even, I mean, they're not like infractions, simple infractions that they would put you in jail for. They're writing tickets and they're nice to people. But, you know, I see we're in a different area here on the coast, and, you know, get into the cities. If you've got cops getting out of line, you know, the good cops suffer, and I just want to make sure that I know about it and I can put some energy out there. Anything to do with betrayal from anybody, anything to do with negativity that I can deal with? Anybody got any problems? Any walk-ins? Anything going on?
No, but it's good to know you can do that.
Well, anybody can do it, but yeah.
Well, okay.
And there's a lot of released souls too. I may sound out there, but I am. And the ley line is like that Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they're watching all the people going floating by in the little boats with the little lanterns they had in the movie, just flowing down this river. It's really wild. People are not. About 50% of the people I saw today, I was checking out. Not a lot of people in town. About half of them had masks on, and a couple of them I talked to. And I said, "Well, do you realize what's going on with your mask and what you're doing with a 6-foot distance thing?" Respectfully, and one of them walked away thinking about it. I mean, they're not even in the store; they're out on the street. And the other one said, "Oh yeah, I'm an RN. I know all about that." And she's wearing a mask. I said, "Well, that's cool. Then you know that you have a breeding ground there, like Thomas said last night, and that just walking around with a mask, you are adding, like as Thomas said yesterday. I carry a mask, but I wear it around my neck. The only time I put it on is when I have to, and I'll go and get my stuff off. But I thought about putting printing up some, just open up, simple, open up. Put them on the restaurants and the people around here that are closed up at night when they're closed. Scotch tape, open up. Maybe burn a bunch of CDs of this last THI revocation. Just lay them around. Put a bunch in the post office. The CDs are cheap. Because I know at the beginning of that talk yesterday, Thomas really catches your attention with his lead-in, you know. Well, so, okay. As far as big projects, I hear some of the funds, People's Club will be supporting smaller, I missed last week, so some of the smaller what's going on with that is being taken care of, and that the big stuff we got to wait for, correct?
Yes, Kimberly talked a little bit about that. She and Estella are going to be writing up their little projects for farming and expanding the community garden areas, and Estella's going to do some terracing and so on and so forth. So you'll catch up you'll catch up. If you see the video from last week, Kenny, you'll see what
Okay.
the intention was, what the plan is.
It's been too crazy around here. So
That's all right. When you get a chance to catch
Yeah.
up, you'll be able to do that. Thank you very much for your input. I'm going to move on now to Vicky.
Okay, hey, Ken, I'm wondering if you're the same Ken that I texted earlier today. I think you gave me a number a while back because I wanted to talk to you one-on-one, so we're not like on this vid here. So that
right. It's not a cell phone. It's a landline. I don't have a cell phone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got my number, the 707?
I believe so. Let me look on here again.
It's on the file section. I think my description's got my phone number.
707-882?
That's it.
Okay. All right. So when's a good time to call you? Because you said you're crazy, and I understand that. Everything's
That's okay. That's normal.
Our time is going really quickly. I mean, I agree with you. The time is like buzzing. You sneeze and it's already the next day. But I just wanted to talk to you about some more about the phone and about my laptop.
Cool. I'll help you out. I'm better probably anytime. Let's see, noon.
Okay.
Time.
Well, aren't you Pacific time?
Yeah, right on. That's habit. But yeah, 1,200 hours. There you go. 1,200 hours.
Okay.
Anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 hours probably be okay. The mornings are busy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, feel free to call me. I'd love to talk to you, or anybody who needs help. Please call me at any time. You know, I've worked with a group for about 30 years, pro bono, and I've already talked all my stuff. I don't want to, but
I get it. That's why I wanted to just talk to you like myself, so we're not hogging up any time.
Right. Yeah, I dealt with a line of nasties, man. I've been, oh boy. Yeah. But thank you for that. Call me. I'd love to talk.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks, Ken.
Okay, Sean, is your hand up again, or is it still raised from the last time?
Yeah, I just forgot to.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough. Philip, how about you? Philip, is your hand up again, or?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't take it down, but I put in the I wanted to ask Ken if he would give us his phone number. I don't have a contact for him. And then I put in the chat that if you end up having to wear a mask, that what I do is go and spray it with colloidal silver first, let it dry before I use it, and then that kills bacteria and viruses and fungi, etc. So
cool. Thank you for that. I'm good. Just acacia trees get me, but you got my phone number. It's 707-882.
882.
Yeah. 1966.
1966. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
like the year. Just think Timothy Leary or something. You'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So familiar with that. So
yeah, you're right there. Yeah, but
okay.
Far out. Call me, give me a buzz.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
That's for anybody. You need help, I'm here. And that goes with the nasties too. Let me know. And I think Willow's not on it tonight, is she?
No.
No, Willow had to leave town rather abruptly, and she's going to travel for a little bit, but she'll be in touch with us along the way.
Yeah, Willow's good at it too. If you can get a hold of me, I think Willow's put it out that she's ready to help too.
So can you tell me more about, so I've seen, UFOs, et cetera, since I was a kid, and in Peru, et cetera, but I haven't seen them for quite a while. So since Thomas is putting out that information about, disclosure, is that what's coming on now? So they're starting to like show up and they're gonna.
they've always, yes, Thomas is very timely.
Yeah.
He's very good. Not only is he a good speaker, in my opinion, his timing is excellent. He's preparing those with the truth, with those, and he's coming out with number 3. I also, yesterday's, I was caught by surprise because the post that I saw said it was going to be From Russia with Love 7 rerun. And then whappo, surprise! It's the heavy duty, in your face cornholio, which is actually, it's stated that a lot of people think it's a scamdemic. Well, it is, but not for the nursing homes. I had no idea. He gathered all that data. As far as being ready for what's coming, they've always been there. I agree with you on that. The watchers, I call them watchers. They have, if you don't just stare right at them, just a little bit off to the side and use your peripheral vision, you'll notice that the watchers used to, what they used to be. They would have red and green lights flash sometime, brighter, off, brighter, and then off to the side you'll see a blink, and you turn and look and you see another watcher. And it has nothing to do with heat in the atmosphere or any of that. It's like when you recognize them, when you look at them, it's like recognizing the nucleus in an atom. And lately, because it's operational, but I think I'm not going to discuss why, but I am seeing, and I'm not the only one, I've asked other people, but I've noticed that some people who are not willing to have an open mind with the possibility that may be an off-world ship or living entity. These things, they're alive to me. When I see them, I've got no problem with that. They don't feel nasty, the ones that I'm seeing right now. A couple weeks ago, got a tap to go outside. The timing's big too with me. I saw him coming up from the horizon in the twilight. It was just starting to get dark, and I ran down I just jumped in the car. I'm a mile from or less than a mile from a pier here, Point Arena, and I took off down there to the end of the pier, and literally, it works better in my peripheral vision, and that may be due to a burned retina or something, because a couple of times I caught an arc I used worked with high voltage a lot, and there's been some accidents or welding. Maybe I was looking at somebody when they just hit an arc. I do know I've got a dead spot somewhere, but I noticed that if you concentrate on it, look up in a good dark sky, get yourself enclosed. You're in San Francisco, it'd be difficult, but get like your observatory, surround yourself, block off all the lights around you can, like in a refrigerator box or something old like that, and then look up at a star. Or just, if it's a good night, if you can get somewhere where there's not a lot of ambient light, and just look at that star and don't allow yourself, your eyes to be attracted to movement. It's natural. You see movement or something flash, you're going to want to look at it. But work on just staring and just not trying to focus too much. And in your peripheral vision, you'll see all our little friends. But that time down at the pier, there was tens of thousands of them coming over the horizon. Now, whether they're coming out of the ocean over the horizon, I don't know. At that time, they were white. May have been due to the ambient light or something, but there was clouds of them just coming in, and I sent a little note off to Thomas on private chat, and he gave me a big thumbs up. That made me feel better. I talked to some other people who have the ability to receive that without making a bad or good label. Just they are. Just be. They just let them be. And I don't get any negativity off of them, but you'll see here. It's hard for me to say anything because some of it's operational. It has to do with something I would love to talk about it, but I'm not gonna, because when I look at them now, in the first week or two, they were dancing all over the place for me. Shadows also. You notice the shift that we're going through here now, and I'm not drinking or smoking any of that crap either. I'm good. I'll be walking along the peripheral vision, what catches all this stuff. Shadows will move and change. Look like a dog in a bush, and I'll look right at it because it moves and change. There's nothing there, no car going by it, and when I look right at it, it goes still back to where it was. It's like it almost seems I'm seeing in a holographic, like we're shifting a phase through where two of our planets in a dimensional action going on, and these negative personalities are going to just go away. In my opinion, they're just going to fade away. I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe just delete it, because they won't be able to stay on the frequency that we're at. We're going to have to be ready to step in and take over. A lot of.
As far as I know, what's going on right now this week and until January 6th, we're having a big wave of source energy coming from the central sign. It's like a spiral of source, and at the same time, there is another spiral that is opposite, and I think that's why, you see aggression and like the opposites, some people doing really good stuff and other people doing really negative.
Yeah, that's why I'm really interested in intel from the cities. Anybody calling me up, let me know, what's going on. That's the best intel I want. I call it the internet, right? So, give me a call. You see something strange, but I asked that one big fella last night. I'm out there alone, dark sky, coast, small town, but 200 people in this town. And I'm looking up at this, and he's just winking. He knows I recognize him. I'd say, hey, I just listened to all this. I got some new awareness of what's going on. Hey, we need some help. Would you help us out, please, a little bit? I mean, I can do I'll do everything I can. And he actually changed colors and moved around on me a couple of times until I looked down for Tugboat to make sure he was still there. And I looked up, he's gone. But the other ones are smaller, and they're here for a reason, and I'm not going to talk about it because that's just, that's like Thomas says, it's operational. And when it's over with, or I feel that there's some kind of final outcome, then I'll talk about it more. It's tied in with our intention. Am I talking over anybody that got their hands up? I'll stop talking. But there is, because of the higher frequencies of the natural human beings that are here on this planet, and the time zone that we're passing through right now, Thomas confirms it, other people confirm it, and there are some people that I asked to look up to see if they can see what I'm seeing. And if they're not ready to receive that, they have the MK Ultra cognitive dissonance program running, and they're not even ready to receive it. They won't see what we see, in my opinion. So I don't make a judgment. I don't label them. But they're running. When I try and look at them right now, it's like they run hide. If I'm looking where darker spots, in between a set of trees, I'll see a cloud, and they'll recognize that I'm looking at them, and they'll all ass over to behind a tree so I can't see them. Like, they came here, and we're here, fine, okay. And then I got to download on what they're here for. And it's part of my stuff, but I'm not the only one here that's on this planet of ours that's doing heavy-duty work and for the free will positive. It takes many, and they're here for us. They're my little friends, I call them. But so we'll see what happens here. And but I noticed, like I said, shadows. Also, I've always been an animal person. I've always associated animals with natural human beings here, like the deer story about how the deer approached the devil, and with the Indians had another name for it, but he was able to walk right past the devil, this deer, because the deer showed him no threat, number one. Number two, he's just looked at him with love. Number two, and number three, he didn't affect his free will and just walked right past him to the happy feeding grounds, and the gate opened for him. That deer. That's Pomo folklore here. The Pomo Indians, as they're called, and others, Cherokee. There's the fox. They're the chameleon. They tell me to stay in the shadows or to do something and be observed somehow. So look at the animals around you, the natural messages that come across. But it's getting real now. When we got hummingbirds, Wendy was standing outside the door here talking about someone, and there's no way that this I saw the video, I wasn't there at the time. This hummingbird just come right in front of the door, right in front of her, and stopped, looking right at her, and took off. And we have mountain lion, we have pumas, we have there are hundreds of California condors. I don't know, the crap they're saying, and there's only, I think I read, what, 26 condors or something. I see them that much in 10 minutes around here. Ravens, great messengers. If you are able to receive and accept the fact that they're smart, and they're smarter than you think, and you show them respect, feed them a little bit, they'll help you. I had a friend in Minnesota that was stopped in a deer trail before in the fall. Stopped this raven's hopping to stop her in the trail. She couldn't go around because it's just a simple deer trail. There was a huge big bear trap, a 12, 14-inch bear trap covered with leaves, and that raven was right in front of that trap, stopping her.
Oh, wow.
And they've done the same thing for me. So accept what you see and look at man. I don't know. You got spare water, Philip? You got some freeze-dried food? You got some supplies?
Yeah, I've got all that. Yeah, I've been stocking up for a year or so.
Good. How about everybody else? Yeah?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Good.
I just wanted to say, like Golden Gate Park, when I go on walks, I'm seeing there was a raccoon family coming right up to me yesterday.
Yeah.
There are five blue heron nests in Golden Gate Park with chicks. There are Canadian geese all over the place. One couple has 17 chicks. So 17 chicks with them. The mallards with their chicks. I've just seen, every day I go on a hike in the park, and so it's blue jays, the ravens, and the crows. Big time. It's all over the place. I saw a family of foxes last week.
Is it different than what you've seen past?
I've seen foxes before.
I mean, the
I
number.
haven't seen in years. What?
the number of sightings and how they're reacting to you.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Well, I mean, animals, I have no problem with animals, even rattlesnakes and stuff. They have a right to be there. And so I have total respect and love for them. But generally, people in the park are walking around, and these Canadian geese, or you just walk right by them, well, like by their chicks and everything like that. It's like people are just in love somehow. It's like, it's really something.
Okay.
So it's
All right,
just
well,
like, I've never seen this before. Never seen this in the park before. This way. The mallards, yes, but not the herons and so many Canadian geese. It's crazy. So lovely. Really lovely.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say goodnight, folks, and
Yeah.
wish you safe travels and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.
Hey, thank you,
Okay,
Phyllis.
Bye,
Jim,
Phyllis.
Jim, I'm turning it over to you. Thank you.
Good night, Phyllis.
Okay, good night, Phyllis. Thank you.
Good night, Phyllis.
Yeah.
Luck, Gus.
Have a good
Shields up.
Anyone else have a burning desire?
Thank you, everybody. Shields up, yeah.
I
Good night,
I just
everybody.
only want to make the comment. I only focus on, okay, so if you're in the focus in the moment, the rest vanish. So the secret is where you put the energy in your mind.
Yeah.
So I just only want to say that
If you've got
because
a brouhaha coming up your rear end, you take care of it, Estella. Okay.
I
Hang in there. I gotta
no,
go.
yeah, but I experiment a lot with that, and actually, and I believe in synchronicities. And what I've been since the last week is everything about visualization, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is your spirit. You can open the door and being in connection to your spirit by being in the moment, and anything that comes as negative, you can just shift it to be positive and loving with kindness. And it's a training to be a master Buddha in this, special situation. But look at, I feel the word hope and everything, trust that you are with source. You walk all these kind of difficult time, but if you trust your source and physicality and you walk into the path of that source, everything's going to be fine. We just growing, learning, and we're going to make it to new earth. And I know we are already doing it. So I just want to mention that because it's important that trust that comes from the inner side of you. Truth sets you free. So knowing your truth, who you are, how loving and wonderful you are, nothing can touch you. Fear is this when your structures start to get all like, not strong.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that. Sorry.
Thanks, Stella.
We've got a lot of problems right now, and Thomas last night drove this in very, very strongly. I responded. I wrote my response to what he wrote last night. I am very concerned about this, but I agree with Stella. It's really important to keep your balance, to keep on an even keel, to remember your strengths, because this is when we can forget that. But at the same time, we have a very serious situation, in my view, and especially from what Thomas said last night. But I've been expecting this for some time. I wish that the council had intervened, and I don't know about removing 37 million people, but certainly pulling a core out of that. I hope very much that the council has not completely abandoned any kind of aid. I think that if this vaccine thing gets going, just the sheep mines that I see around here in LA and everywhere else. I'm greatly concerned, and that is just part of this. I don't know what more I can do except, readjust and go back into and connect more with source and keep going. And quite frankly, even if the entire earth is destroyed, consciousness in life will not be destroyed. And that is also a great comfort, which I wouldn't have had prior to coming here. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we've got some tough times, and I think it would be very nice if more people wake up. I hope Kim's United News Network or United News Channel, I'm thinking of maybe getting involved in that and doing something, because most people in my view are good, and they are ignorant to the bone in so many ways. So to say I've been concerned, is not exactly an overstatement. I would say it's an understatement, but that's where I am this evening, and I hope and I am working for better things in the future, action. So I want to leave everyone with that. It's been great seeing you all tonight and listening to you, and restoring a lot of things, and we are on a path, and that's for sure. But anyway, I just want to express all that and thank you for everything, because looks like things are going to get real interesting. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
Well, thanks, everyone. I'm glad that we have a place to meet up every week, and this was very enjoyable tonight. Anyone else have anything?
Welcome to the new people. It was very nice to meet you guys. Very nice.
Yeah.
This is Rochelle. Just want to say I'm so grateful to have this, when I can get here every week. Oh my God, my heart sings, and things about nature. I walk on the beach every night. Well, I do stairs every night. And it's absolutely true. It's like the animals, it's true. It's almost like they're trying to reach out or something. It's overwhelming. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Have a great week. And see you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Thursday.
Nighty night.
Great talking, guys.
Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. That was a great call.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Great.
Going.